This episode of Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Luca Parrish, and you are listening to the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks Podcast.
In brightest day,
in blackest nights,
No evil shall escape my sight.
but those who worship evil's might.
beware my power.
Green Lantern's light. Hello and welcome back to another week of Sector 2814, the Green Lantern Podcast. I am Phil. Joining me as always, Master of the Core.
I'm Will, hey.
And I don't know if I'm going to need to be rookie anymore.
I don't know. Master of a lack of consistent nickname. I'm Matt.
Hey, leave me alone. I'm not the professional comedian in this group.
Hey, it's all right. I'm not either. It's been about a year, right?
People should expect nothing from me. I'm not the professional comedian. I'm not a professor, so I'm probably not the smartest one in the room. So leave me alone. I'm the underachiever. All right, so.
No, that's not true. You put out like 50 podcasts a week. Come on. That's an achievement.
I'm just stubborn. All right, then. Yes, no big Green Lantern news, although Will brought a issue up before we came on about, so you're having trouble finding Far Sector back issues.
Oh, yeah. They're tough, and they're going, number one is going for some bucks. I think I found a copy for, I think the best price I found that was actually in stock was like $16.
Ooh.
And then it's weird and you scour eBay, you scour the other places. I think there's a trade coming out or will come out eventually of all 12 issues. But yeah, it's just hard to find. The second print's of number one is also going for
Oh, really?
pretty decent bucks too. I mean, eBay's one place to check, but I hit most of the online stores that I could find just to see what was what. And I did find a number one, and I'll try to read the first 4 issues when I get them, and we'll see how that works. But yes,
I was just saying, I have most of them, but yeah, I'm missing a few. But yeah, like I said, it's pretty good. And let me see. And if you're just interested in reading it, kids, on DC Universe Infinite, they have the first 7 issues so far. So
cool. All right, awesome.
And in print, I think we're up to 10. So
cool.
So yeah, but you like it? You said you read the first one.
I haven't read it yet. I haven't got it. So we'll see. I'm hoping once they get here, I'll read the first 4. And then I don't think I was able to get 5. Actually, I could tell you what I was able to get. I was able to get 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then 8, 9, and 10. So 5, 6, and 7. No luck on. I'll have to find them when I find them, I guess.
I was going to say, you can probably buy them digitally. I know that's not the most.
Yeah, there's something about. Oh, and I showed you guys this too. This is finally, I got this in. I know it's been out for a while, but.
Oh, yeah. The second trade of the Grant Morrison stuff. Yeah, so you said what? The Black Stars is in there, and then like the first half of season 2.
Yeah. So I think the first trade / hardcover for season 1 was 6 issues. The second one was 7 through 12. And then they had this weird bridge between the Green Lantern Black Star, I think was what it was, a 3-issue series that Sharp did not do the art for. That's in there. And then the first 6 issues of season 2 are in this one. So I think the final trade / hey.
Russell.
Howdy. I think the final trade will be out in a month or 2. I'm not sure. Or hardcover, whatever it is.
And another big breaking DC news, it's coming at the end of the week, right?
No.
The big, long Justice League Snyder Cut.
Oh, yes. I've actually...
4 hours and 2 minutes, my friend.
What?
I'm sure I'll get in trouble because I've seen too many of Snyder's movies, and I know what he does and how he does it, and it's not something that's for me. So I'm just not gonna give myself that aggravation. So
I was gonna say not this weekend, but next weekend we're gonna be doing a big roundtable review of it on Capes and Lunatics. Lilith already saw it. She got a screener, like a review.
Early access, yeah.
Yeah. She said it's better, but she's not jumping for joy. She's not like jumping for joy for it, but she said it's a little better.
I have been reading a little bit of response to it. They said one person said, "Yeah, it is better, but the bar was so low." So I don't know, but
again, why wouldn't you cut that up into 2 parts, man? It's just like 4 hours.
I mean, Snyder has an interesting visual style. I just after Man of Steel,
but does it have a story?
Yeah, after Man of Steel, I was like, okay, this is not. His interpretation of these characters does not match the interpretation that I think I want to see. So good luck.
Hello,
I think that they should call it this. I think they should call it the Snyder version, not the Snyder cut, because if it's over 4 hours, I don't think there's a lot of cutting involved.
Nice, very nice.
Take that.
Oh, give her a nice live. Suck it, Lilith.
Suck it, Lilith. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh. Or hell, jump on with Hellfire. I don't care. But yeah, again, why wouldn't they cut that up? Again, think about it. Avengers Endgame, add an hour. That's what you're getting.
Yeah. Well, they're still working on the Green Lantern series for HBO Max, right? That's still in development.
Yeah. It's still in production. Yeah, they didn't set a date or anything, I don't think. But I mean, they're working on a few things. I thought last week or so, I thought they announced like a Zatanna special or a series.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember hearing something about that too.
So yeah, I mean, they're going. Seems like they're making shows. It's just I don't know where they're at. All right, I'm just looking up, double check, see if they did put a date up yet. Thank you, Russell. All this sausage and no Ray to enjoy. I love Ray. Always takes the shrapnel.
Sausage.
So the new Green Lantern series debuts next month, and that's going to be with Teen Lantern and
John Stewart and a bunch of them. Yeah,
and Sojourner, I think, from Far Sector, and then John Stewart.
Like I said, don't hold on much hope for Hal Jordan, because I'm pretty sure the writer's gone on record saying he doesn't like Hal Jordan. So,
well, I mean, I kind of understand that, but Hal really had the focus for the last 2.5 years or so, because it was his book, right? I mean, it was all his book. That's what Grant Morrison wanted to be in the book. So, that doesn't make me angry or anything, because Green Lantern's a cool concept. So I'm looking forward to see who's the new writer.
We'll look this up. But yeah, there was no date for the Green Lantern series, but they said it's going to be 10 episodes. I guess that first season. Let's see.
That seems to be pretty standard these days for.
Oh yeah, streaming. You usually don't get more than that. Yeah. Jeffrey Thorne.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him. Yeah, written by Jeffrey Thorne, art by Dexter Soy.
And that Dexter Soy, he's a newer artist, right? I think.
He's been around, I think. I'm trying to remember what he's worked on. Boy, really working the Google tonight. I remember hearing that name. I'm just trying to remember where. He looks like he's done some. Oh yeah, Batman and the Outsiders. Looks like he's done a bunch of Batman, some Batman Arkham Knight comic book stuff. DC Universe, first Masters of the Universe.
Oh, okay, cool.
Some Red Hood and the Outlaws. So yeah, it seems like he's been a lot on the Batman side of things. So
interesting.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what he brings the Green Lantern. Oh. Why is there so much Green Lantern missing from DC Universe Infinite? Well, Russell, the period we're covering right now is written by Gerard Jones, who I believe
currently in prison, I believe, for
child
pornography.
And
I think.
I don't think DC is interested in paying him royalties.
Not even canteen cigarettes or anything. Yeah.
I'm like, can't they cut a deal with him? Be like, hey, all your royalties are going to go to your victims or something.
I don't know. I mean, it's odd because there's a lot of artists that could be getting royalties too. So I don't know if DC's just not got around to it, or it's just low priority, or if that's the reason.
I mean, Marvel and DC both have stuff missing from their apps because, I know Russell, you're even saying I've noticed it. Like even on the Marvel side, there's a bunch of Daredevil issues, big gaps in the middle and stuff. But I don't think they have any issues with those writers and stuff. It's just.
Well, and we're kind of used to it because of our great love of Quasar. They.
Oh.
Yeah. Here's the first issue. Here's Galactic Storm. Here's a few Infinity War crossovers, maybe, and a Gauntlet. I don't know.
I hate to admit it, and it's just I get that they don't think there's a big demand for Quasar at the moment, but don't you think they'd be double timing it for Daredevil and? I mean, the dude had a three seasons on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been around since early Marvel. So
it was created by Stan Lee. Damn it.
That's right.
And people are still chomping at the bit to get him back in live action. Quasar Maelstrom. What about Maelstrom? What about Maelstrom?
I need to get him a picture of Maelstrom. We're going to talk Maelstrom on the podcast one of these days as a good villain.
Oh
yeah.
You're going to go on there and talk Maelstrom.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a lazy slacker. I'll get that to you.
I still got to pick a villain, but yeah. Oh, nice. That's right, because not only are you a Quasar fan, but you're a fan of Maelstrom shit. What, Roger Stern of Avengers? Is that right?
Yeah, and he was also in Marvel issue of Marvel 2-in-1, then the Stern Avengers, and then he hasn't really appeared that much. And then we got him again in the Abnett Landing Guardians of the Galaxy, where Wendell got the bands back, which was kind of cool. He was a lot different in that than he had been previously, but he's cool. And I'll get into this, but I like him for a couple of reasons. And
Russell, we'll figure out a villain for me to do. I'll come on the podcast. But yeah, everyone, check out Tomes of Evil. Yeah, Russell covers different villains every time. I guess he's doing a couple episodes now on the Hobgoblin.
Oh, those classic Stern. Yeah, that's some awesome Spider-Man right there.
Yeah, he was just recording Amazing Spider-Man 238 and 239, the first appearance. I went all Ray and sent some feedback in. So
nice.
Wasn't there a limited series where they kind of wrapped up the Hobgoblin stuff after?
Oh yeah. Because when they were it was after the Clone Saga, so it's years after Ned Leeds. I was like, oh wait a minute, it wasn't Ned Leeds really.
And then because that was, do you guys remember the Spider-Man Wolverine one shot?
Yeah,
that dealt with some of the Hobgoblin in Germany or something.
Well, that's when they killed Ned Leeds, and it's really you killed off the Hobgoblin in a minute. That's right.
Nope, it was Hobgoblin. Fake. Hobgoblin lives. Yeah, Roger Stern is one of my heroes. Awesome writer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, is that enough Marvel on your DC podcast, kids?
We could talk WandaVision. No, kidding. I'm totally joking.
Hey, Falcon and Winter Soldier first episode comes out this week.
That is true. I am really looking forward to that.
Stay tuned. Friday night, Capes and Lunatics kids. Lil Hellfire is going to be MIA. So joining me and Charlie to talk the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be somebody you may have heard of, Ray. Whoever that is.
Who?
Who?
I don't, who? Is he a podcaster or something? I don't know that I've ever heard of. Does he have like a podcast or something?
What the F? Oh, yeah. He talks extensively about
Batman.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's what.
right.
Did I tell you guys we're doing another swap at the end of April? Yeah, Lilith is going to do an episode of Into the Night, and Ray has to do an episode of Batman with me.
Wow, that might be painful. Very painful.
So we'll see what happens, Ray. All right, so should we jump into these because we got 4 issues tonight.
Sounds good to me.
Green Lantern 14 through 17, Mosaic. Kind of the setup for the actual series.
Yeah, laid a lot of groundwork, as I understand.
Oh yeah, because first one, issue 14, Mosaic Part 1, Structures. Like we said, unfortunately by Gerard Jones, penciler Mark Bright, inker Romeo Tangle. Colorist Anthony Tollin, letterer Albert de Guzman, and editors Andrew Helfer and Kevin Dooley. And yeah, issue 14 is July 1991. All right, so synopsis: in the transplanted Earth town of Greenville on Oa, 2 teens are excited to meet and converse with alien species, but when their neighbors prove to be violent expansionists, things take a bad turn. When John Stewart, the sole Green Lantern on Oa, arrives on the scene, he finds the townsfolk planning to go to war against the aliens. At first, Stewart seems too sympathetic with the aliens, but when the aliens blast him, he is forced to reevaluate. He captures 2 of the aliens and attempts to enter their minds. The aliens are empaths, and while they seem to be comfortable with John, their expansionist drive makes them hope only to devour him. Unfortunately, the aliens are capable of using a form of yellow energy as a weapon, just like everyone else. And John must hide the fact that Green Lanterns are weak to the color yellow. As a quick fix, he digs up a forest from one of the Earth settlements and plants it down between the aliens and the humans. John Stewart heads to the Citadel, the Guardians of the Universe, to plead for their help in resolving the issue. He believes it would be best to either seal them off or move them elsewhere. The Guardians, however, have decided to leave any and all issues in the cities of Oa to Stewart. Meanwhile, the citizens of Greenville send word to Hope Springs, home of Hal Jordan's friend and erstwhile love interest, Rose Hardin, for help. Rose is reluctant to join them at first, but when they suggest that her son Toby could become a victim, she grabs her gun. John Stewart struggles with the responsibility of having to solve a seemingly unsolvable issue on his own. He researches famous Earth diplomats and politicians, hoping to find some kind of human solution to an alien problem, but eventually he falls asleep. He's awakened by a troubling message that he thinks may be a dream. Even so, he makes his way to Greenville, where the humans are already about to find themselves at an incredible disadvantage. Thoughts?
Let me just say the art by M.D. Bright is awesome.
Yes.
I mean, it's really sharp. All 4 issues look just beautiful.
No,
really nice.
No, not sharp, bright.
Bright, very bright.
Not Liam Sharp, bright. So, Matty Conan, what do you think? Was this your first time reading these?
It was. So, I mean, just from this first one, they're setting up like a number of things, which I kind of like because it's got different elements of other genres while sort of picking up with the division of power of the previous issues. So he is John Stewart is in this position, which he wasn't expecting to be, having just been the Green Lantern of Earth prior to this, and sort of been in distress and having to be rescued. And now he's given a task of almost, being a diplomat, trying to impress the Guardians and keep the peace with these people who, from the last arc that we've read through, are a little bit fed up that they're stuck in their towns in this strange world with no hope of getting back. They can't even get a decent cup of coffee, and so it's got a little it's got politics, a little supernatural dream thing with these mysterious voices, and of course the superhero action. And so this sets it up, and I think it kind of ups it more and more each issue. So I'm on board so far.
Remember, it's hell. There's no good coffee and there's no Streisand.
Yes, of course.
Hey, Will.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think were they trying? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to fool us. But do you think the Guardians here are being portrayed as being like having sinister motives, or are they just like all unknowable aliens?
I got some Watcher vibes from them a little bit, but also I don't think it was sinister. I think it was because there's a line in the third part, so that would have been issue 16.
Yeah,
where they say, we can learn as much from creation as we can from destruction, or destruction from creation. So I kind of think that they're coming. When they came back, they were changed, and that they understood that they didn't have all the answers, so they were going to start maybe experimenting a little and seeing what happens and what works best. And that's kind of why they kept the mosaic, right? They wanted to see, if order was important to them, and order seems to be important to them, then the way they were trying to enforce order wasn't working before. So how can they do it a different way? It's interesting because John goes from what we see him here to how he ends in the mosaic is pretty radical change, right? When we get there eventually. But I thought this is in my mind probably one of the stronger arcs of this era of Green Lantern, honestly. The first 8 starts weirdly, but ends pretty strong, and then we get a Guy Gardner arc. But this is really good.
You can't say they weren't trying to give us everything.
Yeah, and I think that actually kind of hurt the book in the long run, because you never knew what you were going to get. Well,
I think they realized that. That's why they split
everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Before we get to the next one, yes, thank you, Russell. This episode of Sector 2814 brought to you by Into the Night, the Sausage Podcast. Boy, Ray taking a pounding tonight.
Couple of balls down the gob.
It's because everybody loves him. That's why.
That's right.
It's all because of love. It's all love.
I beat you with our love, Ray. All right. Let's get to part 2. All right. So yes, Mosaic Part 2. Strictures. Strictures. This one, August 1991. The humans of Greenville, an Earth town transplanted. Yes, so we already did that. Battling with the neighboring city inhabited by violently expansionist aliens. Despite his efforts to protect them, the humans perceive the actions of Green Lantern John Stewart as sympathetic towards the aliens, and they become bitter. Eventually, an explosion causes the tower in which the aliens are based to be destroyed. Rose Harden happens to see an injured alien, and her compassion leads her to save his life. But when she brings him to the other humans, they demand that she hand him over to be killed. John Stewart arrives just in time to stop them, and in his frustration, he builds a huge wall between the two cities. John brings Rose and the alien back to his home on Oa. He and Rose discuss issues, leading them to come to an argument about race and class, which brings them to an understanding that they are not so different after all.
It ain't not an argument, that's for sure. They argue about the use of the word ain't.
And Streisand. We get Streisand mentioned again.
Meanwhile, the townspeople debate about what the intentions of the various alien races on Oa are. When someone recalls that Rose has a translator which she uses to speak to the Xandurians, the humans, led by a man named Moses Rockwell, head to her home in Hope Springs. In the Xandurian city, Tomar II is planning to buy a portable universal translator from a creature called Peddler. He soon gets a call from Rose's house, but it is Moses Rockwell on the line. When Rockwell establishes that Tomar II is allied with the Green Lantern Corps, he ends the transmission. Tomar II becomes suspicious and orders that each of the members of his interspecies union be equipped with the portable translators as they investigate the human situation. Later, John Stewart falls asleep and is plagued by nightmares of a strange voice in his head and violent imagery. He wakes in horror to a vision of Tomar II and his friends being shot by the humans. So, in another era, would Rose have gotten a Green Lantern ring? Well,
Potentially. I think so. I don't know. I really think that she was designed to be, that supporting character that had a really down-to-earth perspective.
Keeps them grounded.
Keep everything grounded. And I think that there was a real I don't know. I don't think they really wanted to give a ring to another Earth person, right?
Oh,
yeah. They wanted to start building the core as, creatures from all over the universe, like it should be. Humans are weird. So, there's 3 of them that are humans compose what, 1/3 to 1/2 of the current core? Is that what? I don't know for sure what our numbers are, because there's only 8 or 9 of us, or 8 or 9 of them.
But yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, Tomar II is definitely getting that ring.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Tomar's cool. I think we see him, post Rebirth. I think we even see him during the Kyle run. Am I misremembering there? I can't remember.
Can't remember. We'll get there, kids.
We'll get there eventually, yeah.
So what do you think, Matt Cohn, on part 2?
Well, things are heating up. Murder, dissent amongst the ranks. I read a lot of Stephen King, and it kind of gave me some vibes of Under the Dome, which became like a TV series, which is kind of weird, about all these people, seemingly different walks of life, kind of uniting against this great force around them, and the fear of the unknown and things that they can't take control of. And so far, when we've read these, they handle civilian deaths in a pretty impactful way. When something happens to a regular person, it's kind of jarring, but it sort of seems to drive the story forward. So I like that aspect of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I guess they realize the Guardians are all powerful, but I'm like, why aren't these people like storming their citadel and be like, send us home?
Yeah, right. I think they're kind of misfiring on who the real enemy is, but I think that they don't know to the extent of how much control they have. They're at least believing them that the energy, the power source isn't charged up all the way, so they're still there. So.
Oh, they're gonna get charged up eventually.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then completely destroyed. Ish.
All right, so should we get to part 3?
You bet.
All right, issue 16, part 3, Scriptures, from September 1991. John Stewart arrives too late on the scene to save Tomar II and his interspecies union from being shot by the humans of the Earth towns transplanted on Noah as part of the Mosaic. When violence eventually breaks out between the humans and the neighboring Xandurians, John becomes so frustrated with the whole ordeal that he uses his indomitable will to build walls between each of the transplanted cities, isolating them from one another. The humans are split into two factions, those who are open to coexistence with aliens and those who hope to kill Jon Stewart so they have the freedom to claim vengeance for the murder of two of their own by an alien species known as the Horde. Hoping to gain some kind of support, Rose Hardin attempts to contact Tomar 2 using a translation device. Unfortunately, he has been gravely injured and is not very optimistic about the chances of the humans allying with any of the alien species. As it turns out, Benny, one of Rose's supporters, is actually a spy for the rebels, and he returns to the home of Moses Rockwell to report that there are aliens who share their militant ideology. They use a translator that they recovered from the Interspecies Union to form alliances in order to kill Stewart. Oh, everyone's gonna, they're gonna come together now and kill Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
Rose and her friends
Mutiny.
violence. Rose and her friends try contacting the people of the same race as the Green Lantern Chazalon, hoping that they could notify the Green Lantern Corps through him. Still, the Crystal People are unconvinced of Jon Stewart's good intentions. In a last-ditch effort, Rose attempts to contact the very horde of expansionists that incited the unrest in the first place. The humans and aliens allied against Jon Stewart all hope to cause such violence that the Guardians of the Universe will have no choice but to return them all to their home planets. But as the Guardians look on in omnipotence, it becomes clear that regardless of the outcome, they have no intention of sending any of the cities home. In space, that's what Will's been
No one can hear you scream, sorry.
Rest in peace, Yaphet Kotto. Yeah.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
Sausage!
In space, Will's been waiting for this. Hal Jordan, Rick, and Chazalon are still on the hunt for new recruits to the Corps. Suddenly, though, Chazalon begins resonating with the hum of a transmission from his people on Oa. He gives little in the way of explanation and flies directly there. A suspicious Hal decides that he and Rick should follow. Meanwhile, Jon Stewart, who has been meditating in order to maintain his control over the walls between each city, begins hearing the voice that has been plaguing him for days. The spirit of Appa Ali Apsa has found its way into his mind.
The old timer.
Yeah.
Boy, I just started reading the Mosaic series again, Will, and man, it's getting pretty crowded in that head.
Yes. I do remember it being off the wall, very off the wall. It was unlike anything else being published at the time. It's very strange.
Wait till we get there. But yes, so this time it's Appa Ali Apsa, the old timer. Last seen in episode 4. All right, what you think, Conan?
Yeah, I like the reveal. I like that they didn't spoil it a little bit earlier on, and you have the mania of Jon Stewart. What's his inner struggle is kind of brought to the forefront, justified, while all the humans and the aliens are kind of preparing in their separate spaces to do battle with each other. I love the diamond egg, Humpty Dumpty looking egg monsters with the non-quantum tentacles, and the fact that there's radio broadcasts amongst them, sort of the way the media, I don't know if that's a comment on the way the media is kind of swaying the public in some way, but great last shot too, when I made this place, John, and now what?
Yeah.
Now what I made is about to destroy you.
Well, and I also really like because all of this violence and all of this stuff going on all stems from fear, which is kind of what Green Lantern's about, right?
And it needs to be the dark side. But yeah, the art in this is great. I love that 2-page spread.
Mm-hmm.
Him blowing off those cities and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's another great shot coming up in the 4th that we'll see. John and Hal and Chazalon, and brick. It's like a page and a half splash, I think, or something.
But yeah, good art in this. Again, this was like a good time for Green Lantern. So it's too bad they can't reprint it. Give the money to charity or something. Work a deal where you can give the money to charity or something.
Yeah.
But then the cover for part 4 kind of reminds me of that Hal Jordan issue where he throws his ring away when he quits.
Yeah. Yep.
Except Hal throws it in front of him, not behind him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so should we get to the conclusion?
A thrilling conclusion.
All right, so yes, issue 17 wraps it up. Part 4, sculptures. Get a kid, kids are all S words.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, cover date October 1991. Yes, all know the various species transplanted onto the planet's surface are at war. A frustrated John Stewart is plagued by visions of the mad guardian Ali Apsa. When John returns to his home, he finds that the comatose alien belonging to the expansionist horde that incited the violence is on the way to awakening. The alien tells John to go see Rose Hardin in Hope Springs. Rose had contacted the horde, an empathic race, in hopes that they would use that ability to send a message to John. They argue over what can be done to reunite the people of the mosaic, stop the violence. But they are interrupted when the walls that John put up around each city break down. The human rebels and aliens begin massacring the races on the other sides of the walls. Fortunately, or unfortunately, Hal Jordan and his other Green Lantern Corps recruits, Brick and Chazalon, arrive and intervene. Hal goes off in search of John and the Guardians of the Universe, hoping for an explanation. John, seeing Hal, becomes somewhat jealous, knowing that in the past he has always relied on Hal to save the day. When confronted, John's newfound conviction regarding the way to handle the situation convinces Hal to let him take a leadership role. Hal and his recruits work on ending the violence while John rounds up the rebel leaders of each species and locks them away in a holding facility. He then visits Rose, with whom he hopes to form a group of like-minded species to work towards unity. When Rose wonders when the Guardians of the Universe will send the collective cities back to their respective home planets, John seeks an audience with them. The Guardians are evasive at first, but eventually they admit that they have no plans to send the cities home. John is angered, claiming that the whole thing is simply an experiment. The Guardians admit this also, but remain resolute that regardless of John Stewart's actions, the experiment will continue. John leaves angrily. He then begins gathering the like-minded members of each species together in his home to make plans. And to start working on a spinoff.
Yes. A pretty successful one, I would say.
Yeah. What, do they have an 18 issue run or so?
Yeah, it probably would have went longer if it wasn't for Emerald Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so thoughts?
It makes me want to get into the mosaic, the big one. And,
It's trippy, man. Yeah.
It's really
And-
trippy.
and I think that Will it kind of hit the nail on the head earlier when he was saying that this is they're sort of finding their way, or they're at least giving you more straight up story, not the silliness of dog fake Green Lanterns and wisecracking intergalactic Ugg bowl cut having Guy Gardner being, having this weird sense of big time chip on his shoulder. And Hal Hal does come into this. He is present in the story, but it's not the main function of it. You sort of just get a sprinkling, I think, to satisfy the readers. So if you weren't already a fan of John Stewart, this is a good highlight reel for him, or a good showcase rather. But you still get a little bit of the classic Hal Jordan in there. So I thought that was
Matt.
cool. Yeah.
It was the bone.
The bone. That's the bone of contention that I had for the previous arc was
But yeah, I mean, I think it was like kind of like vindication for Jon Stewart too after all that action
Mhm.
Comics Weekly
Yeah.
happened. Yeah,
Well, I think it actually has him dealing with the repercussions of that, as opposed to just ignoring them. I mean, we ignore almost everything else about Action Comics Weekly except the one thing is, Kat Matui. And
Yeah.
and that plus um, you know, Cosmic Odyssey, where John screws up and a whole planet dies, which, to be fair, I thought was somewhat out of character for him, but it's that happened and stuck, so we have to deal with it, right? I think that's what they're doing here, is just dealing with taking all that together, having him try to start dealing with it, and then giving him that new space, on the mosaic to move forward.
Yeah.
And I think it really works. The art, I can't remember who was Cully Hamner, the artist on Mosaic.
Um,
I'll look that up too. I mean, the art on this arc, I think, is probably the strongest
It's great.
that we've seen on this series. I mean, it's back to Emerald Dawn 1 and 2, because MD Bright did the art there as well.
oh yeah. All right, let's see. Yeah, Cully Hamler. Yeah. Oh wait, I'm seeing there's a couple artists: Luke McDonald, Jim Ballant, Mick Bird. But yeah, Cully Hamler is probably the big one.
Nice.
Got another question or another comment here. Surprised Green Lantern didn't have more encounters with Scarecrow. I know they did briefly later, but didn't run with it because fear and all that jazz. I mean, I think the reason they don't do that is because Scarecrow would be completely over, just power levels.
Yeah.
Right.
His fear toxin doesn't work when you're surrounded by a green aura.
Bubble them up, yeah.
To borrow a Quasar tactic, right?
or when you have beings capable of overcoming great fear.
Yeah. I thought, and we'll get there eventually, but you can see that after the Sinestro Corps War, or even use the Sinestro Corps War as kind of the starting point, you can see where you get an exploration of each of the other colors of the spectrum. You get Sinestro, which is the fear. You get Rage, Rage of the Red Lanterns. You get the orange. You get the violet. Yeah, exactly. And that's, they basically made Hal wear all the rings, right?
Yeah.
I think he wore every freaking one of them during, that arc, the 3 or 4 year arc or whatever.
And I mean, Kal Rayner kind of had all the powers as the White Lantern.
Yeah, he had the white ring. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, they, I think after he got the orange, I was like, oh, okay, they're giving him every one of the rings at that point, because he already had the yellow, and then he got the, the Rage, and then I always kind of like the Blue Lanterns. What was Saint Walker?
Saint Walker, yeah.
Yeah, those guys were cool. They were the hope. So, sorry, but that's way, way, way off topic. But anyway, yes. I think this dealt more with the theme of Green Lantern than really kind of anything we'd seen. Because, it was about the fear of the people, and then how, John was afraid, because he had all of these, walls that he kept up around himself and everything, emotional and physical, when he, made everything grow up. But it was really kind of on point, I thought. It's a really good story.
The Predator was also remember?
What was that? Didn't they cross over with Star Trek too? So I know
maybe one of those crossovers. Yeah, maybe
there were 2 Trek crossovers with Green Lantern, and then I guess a Predator, or was there was a Green Lantern alien, wasn't there?
I would assume because they did so many Alien Predator crossovers, even Batman and Superman did them. So it's like,
Yeah.
but yeah, stay tuned. Eventually, we'll get to that Green Lantern Silver Surfer crossover.
That's right.
You know what you should have did for your villain. Maelstrom's a good one, Will, but he works both ways. You could have did Hal Jordan's Parallax.
Yeah, I try not to think about.
I was like,
those.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about. Let's not talk about that right now.
Wait, Predator cameos in the actual Core War?
Oh, he must be in the. Okay, he's in the background.
Maybe.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
And then they made an awesome figure.
Nice.
Why do you think they throw any of that in the comics anymore, man? Make some action figures.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when we finally get to all that stuff. It's been a while since I've read that and need to reread it, so that'll be cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Of course, it's fun rereading this. I've forgotten how good this arc was.
Oh yeah.
There he is. I don't know what's the. There's a cat that's a Red Lantern for Earth.
Oh yeah. I forget the name, but yeah.
So many lanterns now. It's so awesome.
I don't know if this is a 2-pack or what. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a 2-pack. It's a Hal Jordan figure in that Yellow Lantern Predator.
That's cool. That's very cool.
I don't see a price, but I'm thinking it's probably kind of expensive. Figures. All right. So yeah, any other thoughts on this arc? Oh yeah, the cat
Dexter, yeah.
I like the Green Lantern squirt gun at one point. That was pretty good.
That was cool.
Taking the water supply from one land and shooting it all over the other. Yeah. Good stuff.
It could have been. Could have been.
You know, and we really get the. He does a lot to build John as kind of this thinking, an intellectual thinking man. He's an architect. He always, not necessarily overthinks, but that's one of the things that he has a tendency to do instead of acting, which is never a problem for Hal. He just never thinks. He just does. So, and then there's Guy who doesn't think and usually acts wrong. So
he's our brain damage. He's our brain damage thug.
Yeah.
Did they hit you in the head again, Guy? I don't know.
That's what I don't like, because it's like in modern Green Lantern, they've forgotten the architect and they made John Stewart like a Marine, which I guess he was in the Justice League animated series. But I like the architect better because he was like the deepest thinker out of all those lanterns.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was more like a tactician than an actual thinker.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this gets my vote as the strongest arc. Actually, probably the strongest arc, pre-Emerald Twilight.
Oh.
I think these 4 issues are probably the best this series gets before Emerald Twilight, at least in my mind.
Ooh, even stronger than that upcoming Hal arc from around issue 20 or so?
I think so. As much as I love Hal,
We'll find out.
Don't get me wrong. There's him jumping out of the airplane without the ring. That's cool, really cool. And we'll get there. And that's because that takes me back a little bit, because one of the earliest, and I think it's the first comic I ever bought off the stand or was bought for me, was on the cover. Hal's falling out of a plane and Green Lantern's getting ready to try to shoot his ring to him because he doesn't have his ring. And I'm like, that's got it. And then it ends on a cliffhanger. What happens next? I had to wait a decade to find out.
Oh, jeez.
Couldn't find the value. I lived in the sticks. I never got this next issue.
Yeah.
Oh. So what are your thoughts on this arc, Matt?
What are my thoughts on it?
Yeah.
Didn't I already say? I don't know. I mean, I liked it. I thought it intrigues me. It makes me want to read more. And I of the Green Lantern, the main 3 Green Lanterns that are so far covered in this, John Stewart was the one that I knew the least about, or the least I remembered about. So it was really cool to see how he kind of responded in this scenario, and I like him a lot. It's just he's a imperfect in a way, but I like that in superheroes. It's one of the things that I really liked about Quasar. So I'm on board for it.
Nice.
I'm in. Yeah.
All right. So, should we get out of here?
Sure.
Sounds good.
First we'll give the kiddies their homework. Next week, we're going to be covering Green Lantern 18 and 19. 18's that Guy Gardner solo thing, and that 19's the oversized one with Alan Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Anniversary issue.
Yes. Made it 19 issues. And then, the week after that will be 20 and 21. And then the week after that, it'll be 22 through 24. So those are big Hal-centric issues. So someone here will be happy with that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I do love Hal, but I also just love Green Lantern too. So.
Oh, yeah. And then after that, Green Lantern Corps Quarterly #1. And then after that, we'll get to the first 4 issues of Mosaic.
And it is trippy.
Yeah.
I haven't read those in almost 30 years, I guess.
Whoa.
Wow.
Really?
I need to.
It's been a while for me. I don't think it was that long. But yeah.
Because I remember reading them as they came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a good time to be a Green Lantern fan. I mean, we had 3 titles, a quarterly, the Guy Gardner book, the Mosaic book, the regular Green Lantern title, the Corps Quarterly.
Yeah, like guys showed up in like Justice League and stuff. Yeah.
And it's Guy. But yeah, it was, 3 ongoing titles and a quarterly. I mean, that's a lot of Green Lantern, to love at that point. And then it kind of all went away about 2 years later.
And then after those first 4 Mosaics, 2 weeks in a row, we're going to have live reads, gentlemen. Episode 13 is going to be Green Lantern 25. Hal and Guy duke it out. And then the week after that is Ganthet's Tale. So
Nice. I haven't read that in a long time either. Looking forward to both of those.
Oh, man. Then it just goes crazy. We're going to have 3 books. Yes. All right. So, all right, kiddies, send your thoughts on all of those. I know they're harder to find, but if we can track them down, send your thoughts. Email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And again, I know these issues are hard to track down, but once we get to like Emerald Twilight, they're on DC Universe, and digital and print copies are easier to find, being reprinted. Once we get to that Cal Rayner era.
Yep, absolutely.
I think everything past that's a lot easier to find. So just bear with us for a little while, kids. But follow Sector 2814 on Facebook, Twitter. Go join Book of Oa, our Facebook group. Find links to this YouTube channel. You can see all the good comments that Russell made about Ray tonight. Not us, Ray. It was all Russell, I swear. So links to this YouTube, links to the Patreon. With a new episode, the first episode of Boob Windows and Long Boxes went up. Lilith Hellfire and I examined the not so great moments of Hal Jordan. So yes, go subscribe there. Links to merch, links to everything, all in one place. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics. And remember to support our sponsors, Tweaked Audio and Hunt a Killer. Use the code Southgate for both of those for discounts. And then go pick up Pod Life, the book, now in digital and paperback. Learn all about the ins and outs of podcasting. And get that on Amazon. And when you do, use the link for Southgate Media Group right down there in the show notes. Help us support this show the network, and the Mad Guardian himself, Rob Master Doom Southgate.
Make it rain, so says Master Doom. Please kick me in the pants. Why did your eye drift over to my box?
All right, Matt Kono, where can people discuss the finer points of comic books with you?
Oh, well, you can try me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Although I'm just really looking things. Matt Kona, it says it on the screen, MATTKONA. There you go. We can chat.
And this man's about to have a baby. Come on, let's have a virtual baby shower. Send your man gifts.
Yeah, I'm gonna ignore you if you don't buy something for me. No, I'm gonna be a busy guy in the beginning of May. So if you gotta chat now.
A great way to change your plate. One of them. All right, Will Allred, Master of the Core. Where can people find you and the Kickstarter and
You can find me at Walred. That's at WALLRED at Gmail and Facebook and Twitter and probably Instagram. I usually hang out more on Twitter. You can also find my self-published work, Diary of Night, diaryofnight.com, which is with art by Dean Gonzalez. Pretty cool. And currently we're working on a book called Crossover Division, which is at the printer right now for the first issue of a successful Kickstarter. Yay! Should be printed by the end of the week, so I'm very, very happy about that. I should have them be able to send them out soon. After that, there's this superhero called Quasar that I kind of like. So if you want to know anything about him, you can always go to the Quantum Zone at quantumzone.org.
Hey, boys, you look at the party? I love the party.
Oh, and I didn't give Conan dropped anyway.
See you later, Bunky.
Doesn't work unless they get the drops. All right. Thanks for joining us, kids. Yes, next time, Green Lantern 18 and 19. Guy Gardner just had a knockdown, drag out with gold face.
Yep.
There's almost some Zack Snyder level property damage.
But hey, it was the bone.
No. Boy, he really wants that drop again.
That's I want to hear that drop from Matt because he's the one that said it.
All right, kids. Come back next time. And remember, we're all somebody's neighbor.